but here's Ray Stubbs with Pat Nevin.
Pat, your reaction to that result? Good win for a good draw for Everton.
Yeah, it's not a bad result. We're unfortunate we had a couple of chances, but we're happy we get them back to Goodison Park, really.
I must ask you about the penalty incident in the first half. How did you see it?
Well, I thought I flicked it by him, and I felt a foot there, you know, but the referee made his decision in good faith. What can I say? I'm sure it shows on the television.
What did he say to you afterwards? He seemed as if he was suggesting maybe you'd taken a dive.
He was, yeah. But, I mean, he made the decision in good faith, you know. I'm not one to complain about referees. If he thought it was a penalty, he would have given it.
Now, looking at Everton's performance overall today, you really took the game to Liverpool. Do you think that maybe you took the game on points?
I think we have taken the game on points because we've got them back at Goodison. I thought they were flattered with last week's result of 3-1. This was a fairer result today. We can't wait to get them there.
Great confidence after today's result for you?
Yeah, we've felt much more confident of late after a poor start to the season, so it's looking good.
Thank you for talking to us.
Well, he's leaning on the wall and he's got every right to, because he ran his socks off, didn't he, Jim?
It's a wonder he can still stand. It was a terrific performance. He seems so much more dangerous and enjoys his game more when he's allowed to play up front. And of course in the second half, when Cottee came on, he was dragged back into midfield and wasn't such a threat to Liverpool as he'd been in the first half. A super player, loves his football.
Do you know, one of the mysteries for me, and perhaps a lot of our viewers too, is why Peter Beardsley is on the bench?
It's a mystery.
And not in the 11, I mean.
I know, it's a mystery for me too. Not only for Liverpool, but for England. You know, it's a player that I've admired for a long, long time and never wavered really in that feeling. But I can only say that only the manager knows why he's not selected him. I mean, I can't know the reason, because there doesn't seem to be any apparent reason.
We should be told, I think.
Well,
we should be told.
Kenny is one to keep his cards close to his chest, as you know, and sometimes when he tells you, you can't understand.
All right.
So, so you know what I mean?
Careful now.
No, well,
yeah.
you know.
We talked about some superb goalkeeping, and we saw some great action from Neville Southall in that second half. Mulvey first.
Yes, Jan Mulvey, in fact, he was instrumental in Liverpool coming back so strongly, both with his shots here. This is the first one. It's actually, I said straight away, I mean, Neville Southall, it looks very spectacular. That is a fairly simple save.
Bread and butter for you goalkeepers,
well,
you reckon?
Honestly, it is. In comparison to the one Jim's going to talk about, which is the David Speedy one. Now,
well, let's have a look at that one. Because,
this was the one moment when Speedy looked like being worth the money that was paid for him. It really was a lovely, lovely shot, lovely volley. And as Bob says, it brings out finally the best in Southall. There it is. A dipping volley, and that time you can see how he's stretching as he falls there. He really has to reach for it. Super
would have been pleased with that, Southall.
Oh yes, and you could see at the end, I mean, there's great camaraderie between the two goalkeepers, but you could also see Ian Rush in particular went up at the end there to Neville Southall, and I mean, he is still possibly the greatest goalkeeper in Great Britain. You've got to remember that.
But look at his competitors, Bob. You think of the live matches we've had where we've ended up 0-0. But what wonderful exhibitions of goalkeeping we have seen from Leeds Arsenal in all those matches. This one today. Yeah. I mean, they are quite superb.
We've got an example of some of Nevin's good work on this next little clip.
Well, he was. I mean, he really was exceptional on the day. And he's got a great footballing brain, and he always attacks here. But he has a little look up here, and he's having a look up for McDonald. And Trevor said he tried to side foot it into the net. He tried to pass it into the net. That earlier in the first half, he'd had a couple of real good strikes, and that's possibly what he should have done there.
Yeah. What was your key to the Liverpool improvement in the second half, Jim?
Partly when Beardsley came on, but partly that Everton had played so well. It was their first half, and although I sort of changed sides at half-time, I suspected that the two halves of a game are never quite the same. When one team's been so dominating, and bear in mind, did get a penalty, we think. Yes. I mean, virtually, we keep talking about Liverpool and their strength.
I think the linesman, we gather the linesman was fairly instrumental in that. Well, just he evidently looked across Neil Midgley, and the linesman just kept. Absolutely, but it's yet another bad decision. We can't keep going on match after match, cup tie after cup tie, having decisions that are wrong.
Listen, it's another way in which Liverpool have kept in the cup. The last seconds at Blackburn against Brighton, they were down in extra time, and they won't get knocked out.
But every game, that's what upsets me. It's every single game this season.
Let's have a look at one of Rush's charts. He didn't have that many in this match. More, I think, when Beardsley came on.
It was a good ball there.
That's
Mulvey at his best, yeah, and it put Staunton through. That's the one time he really did release the midfield. Good ball inside. But that was Keown who just got his foot in there. It wasn't a miss by Rushy. Keown actually got his foot in ahead of him to prevent
He
that
started
goal.
nervously, Keown, but he improved and played the sweeper system perfectly.
I
didn't
think
he?
I think that Howard will play that again. I think that it was so successful today that even at Goodison in the replay, he will persevere with that. I think it worked for them very well today. He'll certainly have a game plan up his sleeve, because I think that was their success today. They had a wonderful game plan.
We all seem to be Peter Beardsley fans in this neck of the woods, and he very nearly brought it off right at the end there, didn't he?
Super shot,
Yeah.
first time. No time really to assess himself. He had to balance himself. Barnes was beginning to come into the game a little bit at this period, and there's the first time shot. Just watch it flick off that post. Whoop. Now that's how near Everton were to going out, and although we can moan that we haven't had our share of goals, we've had our share of excitement this afternoon.
Sure. How would you see the prospects then for the replay?
It depends whether Everton can sustain what they've done both last week in the league game and here today. They've certainly frightened Liverpool, but at the end, the psychological area, and it counts a lot in the Cup. It swayed to and fro in that epic sort of saga between Leeds and Arsenal, and it's happened again here. And at the end, Liverpool had the edge, without doubt.
Neither side are at their peak. Neither Everton